This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. March 1st, 2022. And we'll welcome everyone who is here. Thank you for being here. And also callers. Looks like we have 2 callers and no one on the GoToMeeting link at this time. Roll call. Commissioner Anaya.
Present.
Commissioner Powers.
Here.
I am present. Commissioner Brennan.
Here.
Commissioner Donner.
Here.
Okay. All right, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and be a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Okay, next is agenda approval. So a motion to approve the agenda?
So.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next is the consent agenda, which is, has minutes, a list of minutes here. And I did want to read from the New Mexico Municipal League Pocket Guide for New Mexico municipal officials. And on page 33, just so we're all clear on this, it says, a consent agenda consists of a few routine items which are enacted by one motion with no discussion of the separate items. These items may be grouped on the agenda or marked with asterisks, and we have them grouped together. If any member of the governing body wishes to discuss a particular item, it should be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. So, contrary to what was forced in the past, we actually, if any member of the governing body wishes to discuss something, all you have to do at this point is say, I would like to pull, the minutes from whatever it is, February 15th, for discussion. And then what happens from there is we take action on the consent agenda. Well, we can talk about the ones that are pulled and take action on those individually, and then take action separately on the consent agenda. Okay? So this is your opportunity if you want any of them pulled, just let me know now.
Would that be like if we have a question on it in the minutes?
Mm-hmm. Questions or changes or any discussion?
Okay, because I do have a question on the first set, Article 13.
Okay, so we'll pull October 13th per the request of Commissioner Brennan. And any others? Questions, comments, or discussion that we need to have? Okay. Okay, so let's approve the consent agenda. We just need a motion and a second. We can vote on that, and then we'll address the October 13th minutes.
So make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus the October 13th, 2021 minutes.
I'll second. I'll go ahead and second these since they were minutes from the past. And any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Commissioner Brennan.
Okay, I think it's just maybe a typo error, but I wanted to make sure it was on page 3 of 7. We're talking about Council Abraham stated, and it says he attended the ribbon cutting So I wanted to make sure, are we talking about Council Abraham or was it Council Abrams? So is it the he or she? I just want to make sure we have that right.
Okay, let's look at the context here. Oh, this is in relation to fat pipe.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be she. Counselor Abraham, you attended the ribbon cutting of the fat pipe, right?
We all attended it, so it could have been she or he.
Okay. But right below that, they refer to Abrams asking someone if they would like to speak, and since he was running the meeting, that was probably correct. So I'm thinking it's probably you did state that it should just be she attended the ribbon cutting, and it was a beautiful facility. Anything else?
No, that was it for me.
Madam
Okay.
Chair,
Commissioner Anaya?
so after we made that correction, do we put it back on the agenda, or does it have to come back till next, on the 15th?
We can approve with that small typo amendment.
Thank you.
Sure. Motion to approve with that amendment.
I would like to make a motion to approve the, October 13, 2021, agenda with the correction, changing he to she on the line Council Abraham. Attended the ribbon cutting, and it was a beautiful facility.
And that's the minutes for that.
Right, that was on the minutes, page 3 of 7.
Okay,
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have the minutes approved. Next is public comments on agenda items. Any of you in the room here that would like to speak, come on up to the podium and state your name and address, please. No? Yes? Come on up.
One quick question, I hate to interrupt. Is there a way we can review the agenda, or am I missing it?
We don't have the agenda out.
There's no agenda out here?
No.
Do we have copies that we can put out?
I'm sorry, I just found out about the today, about unprepared.
No problem at all.
I appreciate your.
No problem.
We usually have agendas lined up out there, so we'll get you some.
Thank you so much, I'll be turning this.
Item,
Yes.
under the consent agenda, we listed all this, does that include item B?
Yes.
Well, Ralph Hill, I had the comments on cannabis. Should I wait for the ordinance to come up, or just go ahead and put my points in right now?
Now is fine.
Okay. There's just a few things I'd like to see added. I noticed, I gave you copies of TALS, and I'd like to add in there, besides schools and child care centers, that they,
Can you speak into the mic? Sorry, it's really hard to hear you.
if they could restrict, say that it has to be 300 feet from schools, child care facilities for religious worship, and, community centers. I'd like to see that added. Another thing they did was, they said 300 feet from property line to property line of the facilities, retail to the property line of the school or whatever.
Okay.
I'd like to see, I don't know if you had this in here, but you probably did, no sales, commercial harvesting or distribution allowed in residential areas, because I understand somebody is gonna be complaining about not being able to sell from their home. The other thing is, I think Ken kind of alluded to it, that we need activated carbon filtration HVAC. I think that was all the things that I saw. And I would like to know if there is funds to send a couple of the police officers to training on cannabis, isn't that special training? And it'd be nice if we had because it's gonna be a big issue for the, police. I think they said there was a limit on, the content in marijuana. I know right now, they can get it up to about 40%, 20% is considered high. But 40%, they add a bunch of dangerous chemicals to make it produce that much, so, I kind of want with that. And, planning and zoning, I don't know, I haven't seen any of their work on setbacks or anything for the properties. So hopefully we're working on that too.
Are you talking about 40% HTC or
Yeah,
THC?
Yeah. Yeah, they can get it up to 40% if they put some bunch of chemicals in it and growing it.
I see.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Anaya?
can I make a comment on, the item with, concerning the chief? He and I had, spoke the other day about the cannabis, program, and I had that same question for him. And my question was, is how many officers do we have that comply with the, regulations of, being certified to tell if an individual is impaired? And, he was telling me that there's a program called ARIDE, A-R-I-D-E, and there, D-R-E. And we have currently five officers that are currently trained in this, for this program. So the police department is prepared for the cannabis program.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chief, anything you want to add?
Yes, we've got,
The mic, please.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's on. As Commissioner Anaya said, we do have 5, and my ultimate goal is to get everybody at least A-RIDE certified. It's a 2-step process, A-RIDE and DRE, which is a drug recognition expert. The drug recognition expert is a 3-week class, so we have to spread it out. But if I could get at least 2, maybe 3 to the DRE, but everybody A-RIDE certified, especially with the cannabis laws coming out, as we've discussed in the past of how hard it is to be able to determine whether somebody's under the influence of marijuana or any other narcotics, and that's what the process is. So, like I said, we've got 5 now, and hopefully soon enough, as classes become available throughout the state, to increase that number.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments?
Good evening. I'm Michael Barnes. I moved here in 2015. I reside at.
Sir, would you mind speaking into the mic?
And let me hold it.
Just because online, people need to be able to hear you.
Sure. I'm a little nervous, so I'll try.
It's okay. It's fine.
Good evening. I'm Michael Barnes. I'm a fairly new resident to New Mexico. My husband and I moved here in 2015. The reason I would like to attend your meeting tonight is to voice support for the planning that you're doing about the recreational cannabis. I'm a participant in the medical cannabis program. My husband and I had terminal illnesses. I'm afraid I lost my husband in November of this year. We moved to this state because where we were from, they would not pursue the medical marijuana. So I'm not wanting to further a debate whether it is legal or illegal. I just want to state that I'm under the impression that decision has been made. And so I would like to address how it would benefit. Right now, all the cannabis dispensaries are in Albuquerque. So we, participants in the program, have have to drive down. It seems like I have to pay extra to get businesses to simply come up here. And there's so little commercial business in Edgewood. So we should applaud someone taking the risk and the investment. As far as impairment and so forth, marijuana's been around for a long time. I can only speak for myself. We only consume in our home, and we understand that if you're under or if you're medicated and you are driving, then you do run the risk of being intoxicated. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't think that it will. The people that I have met mostly are my age or older. I'm surprised at that, and everyone has been very responsible, and that's why I wanted to come, is just to be a supporter for the cannabis industry. I'm not sure exactly how it'll affect me with being recreational, because I take it as medicine. But having a location in my community that would save me, gas is only going up. Everything is going up. Last point I'd like to make, when we moved here, we looked at over 66 properties before we chose our home. I'm estimating that 4 out of 5 homes in this area were empty when we got here. Especially in the last 2 years, we have watched so many people move into our community. I've met my neighbors. They're all wonderful people, all walks of life. Mainly, most of them retired, as I am. And I don't think that it will disrupt the community that we have. I trust that problems that arise will be addressed. And I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, sir, for being nervous. You expressed yourself very well.
Thank you, and I enjoy Edgewood. I'm very proud, and my family has come to visit, and they've always enjoyed themselves. Your license plate, our license plate, says Land of Enchantment. You couldn't have a better description. So, thank you all, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
I just have one question. I understood there was at least,
I'm sorry.
oh, well, it's just kind of general, but I understood there was at least one medical dispensary here.
I thought there was.
At least,
Is it open? Now, I'm aware of the one, an Ultra Health. I've spoken with them, and it seems to be that they're waiting for final approval on something, because, yes, I would participate immediately, but no, so far, I've not received any that they're actually doing purchases.
okay, I appreciate it. I just didn't know whether that was open or not open. I understood that there were 1 or maybe 2 even operating in town, but I'm gonna look into that just because I want to go visit their facility as well.
Well, we keep asking, and so we have our fingers crossed.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments. Appreciate it.
I have a question.
Yes, sir, come on up. State your name and address, please.
Yeah. Name is Steve Lampkin, 32 Appaloosa. Question. Now, either way, whether we have marijuana, it makes no difference to me. I'm not a user of it. I mean, I've got a terminal, it's nice. I could care less if people use it or don't use it. Same way with alcohol. I use alcohol on a hot day. If it's 80 degrees, I'll have a beer on the patio, but that's about it. The question, though, is how the ordinance is set up here. I mean, do they sell it on Sunday? Because you can't buy alcohol here on Sunday.
You can't buy alcohol here now on Sunday.
They changed it.
Pardon?
You can buy it on Sunday now.
You can go to the store and buy alcohol?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I guess I'm out of touch with what's going on. Okay, that was my question.
After 12 o'clock.
After 12 o'clock. Very good, thank you.
That was just recently changed, wasn't it, like last year? Yeah.
Any others? Okay, we can go to caller 2. We've unmuted you, caller 2, if you have any comments on agenda items. Okay, and then the go-to meeting, we have, Susan Hill. You can unmute yourself if you would like to make any comments. Okay. We'll move forward. Next, matters from the mayor. I don't have too much other than, board docs. I wanted to update you guys on the, sort of e-platform, I guess I would call it, for board docs, to go through our meetings more efficiently and, help with our motions and minutes and all of that. And so we have, Jesus has actually set up a demonstration for us by the vendor, for this Friday, right? Okay. So next Thursday, the 10th at 11. Wait. Okay. So he'll forward the information. But my question on this is, it's a Zoom, but do we all want to attend? Do you guys want to check it out? If we do, we just need to post a possible, notice of quorum.
Would be beneficial.
The demo. 11.
I'd have to do it Zoom.
Yeah, it's Zoom.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But we would, I mean, if there's, 3 of us or more, then obviously it would be a quorum and have to be, posted and open.
I'm also open to Jesus just teaching us how to use it.
Would you like me to just go ahead and post notice of quorum?
Yes.
Jesus' public speaking skills are awesome.
And Stephanie, if you could get the link, from the vendor, so that if anybody wanted to attend the demo, they could, since it'll be open.
Will that be on our Facebook? It'll be streamed or?
No.
Okay.
I think it's probably good enough just to have the demo, if anyone wants to
They can attend.
attend, yeah.
We're gonna do it in here then?
Just on Zoom from wherever we are.
Yeah, but if he's doing it, he can do it in here.
If
Couple
you
of us
want.
can come in here and do it.
Mr. Anaya.
Commissioner Naya, will you repeat what you said?
I don't remember.
How come we can hear her without a mic and we can't hear him?
I asked the question if we could have the Zoom meeting in this location. That way, we have the big screen and Jesus can also make popcorn. So you're welcome to come in here if you all choose to.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay. Matters from the commissioners. Commissioner Powers.
It's been a kind of a whirlwind week. I guess what I want to say is that, I continue to be really grateful for the support from the town and everybody who stepped forward to volunteer. Some exciting things going on, lots of movement happening, forward progress. We're trying to streamline some of our processes here at, in Town Hall, and, we're really focused on customer service and doing a good job for the public, with their requests and whatever they need. So, I want to thank the staff for all the hard work they're doing. It's been really crazy, but, we are making a lot of progress. I think we'll have an update, at the next meeting on the construction project that's underway at the sewer plant. So that'll be something to look forward to. A lot going on there. We actually made some improvements to the plan set with a couple of change orders that are gonna give us redundancy at the plant. That's one thing that's been a big concern is if one of the existing blower goes down, there wasn't any redundancy to back it up, so that's been remedied on an emergency basis. We're gonna have a permanent redundant system for that, as well as another container and train. So, I'm continue to be optimistic about getting that thing to where it's gonna work on a regular and consistent basis.
Commissioner Anaya?
No, not really. Jerry touched on, pretty much the same projects that I was working on also.
Okay, Commissioner Brennan?
A couple of things. One, I would like to recognize Officer Modling, is that how you pronounce it? Modeling, okay. I saw where he had identified a vehicle that was on the Amber Alert. He pulled the vehicle over and was able to recover an 11-month-old baby that could be returned to parents.
Yes, we're extremely proud, and I'm planning on a little ceremony for him for what he's done, catching an 11-year-old out of Fort Worth. It was amazing. I've never been involved in actually capturing one. But I tell you, this Fort Worth Police Department was extremely thankful. It was amazing because they have access to a private plane, and they were here, once we've captured him, they were here within 4 hours from Fort Worth to take custody of that child. So, and if you saw the picture, she's the cutest little lady you've ever seen. So, but no, I commend him. I've commended him multiple times, verbally, and what an awesome job that they did, because the odds, if it would have been 15 seconds later, you'd have never saw it. And it was just good observation skills on his behalf that him and Officer Campos caught it. So, but thank you. I'll relay that to him. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I mean, attention to detail, noticing that, I don't know if I would have even noticed, but I mean, he was paying attention, he was sharp, and did the right thing at the right time, and it came out really great. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. The other thing I want to mention is, if everybody noticed the other day over there by the Legacy Church, there was a whole bunch of those big vans out there. They were actually using the Legacy Church parking lot as a home base for the filming of the National Anthem movie, that they were actually doing some filming a little bit further off, distance away. They're using that for their home base. It's great to see that happening. Remember last year that they were doing a movie and they were headed over here at the Venus Park. So the more that we can make the town available for that sort of thing, I mean, it puts us more on the map and help us get along. The other thing I would like to say, I'd like to work on maybe doing a workshop next week with the public on the cannabis, and getting just myself and maybe one other commissioner to get more public input and do it in the evening.
Okay. Do you think maybe a special meeting, or do you want just the two?
If it's just two commissioners, then we won't have a quorum, and then we can have the public involvement, and make sure that they have their input. So like I said, I want to get as much public input on this as possible. I don't want anything be thought of as being operated in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Any objections to that?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I volunteer to be the second commissioner. I'd like to be in on that.
Okay. You have the lead.
Okay.
You have, I think that, also, Commissioner and I have provided, another example ordinance as well. So, that's why I was asking if maybe you want to do a special meeting so that you could have more than just the two people. But, yes, Commissioner.
Madam Mayor, we could do a workshop,
Mm-hmm.
and just the one item would be strictly the cannabis.
Okay. If that's okay, Commissioner Brennan, I think that's probably a little better just to follow the Open Meetings Act and allow any of the commissioners to attend if they wished.
All right, that would be fine.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, yeah, so Stephanie, so now we will need to talk in the future, agenda items, I guess, or future meetings on, when we need to do that, so let's hold off on that for a moment, though. Anything else?
No, that's it for me, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
Another thing we could probably consider is, working this, more as a roundtable talk. So we won't be sitting up here. We'll all put tables out there and we'll all sit out there amongst everybody and,
Sure.
as a community instead of really as a board.
Like a workshop.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, Commissioner
Can
Bond?
I add another thing to that? Would there be any way we could possibly get the gentleman from Taos, to come out for that? I mean, I think it would be beneficial. He's already gone through, I think he was the manager, right? Town manager?
Angel Fire, wasn't it?
Or Angel Fire.
Angel Fire, yes.
Angel Fire. Would there be any way we could possibly reach out to him and see if we can have him?
I'll check with him.
That would be awesome.
And even if he didn't come in person, he could Zoom or call.
I'll definitely check with him.
Awesome, thank you.
And then also, just a thought on that, if maybe his time is limited, we could do most of the workshop and then have a list of questions for him that we can call and ask. So, okay. Commissioner Donner?
I don't have a whole lot. I have had a lot of people reach out regarding the Economic Development Committee and wanting to be on it. That's just awesome to see you all reach out and be so involved on all of these, not just the economic development, but every one of these committees that we have is just so awesome. And thank you guys so much. We couldn't do what we're doing without you guys, your guys' support.
It's been great. That brings to mind another volunteer that offered to help us on an emergency operations center that Kay and I met with this week. And, you know, just everyone bringing their talents forward and their time and energy, and it's just great. And that's something that's always been kind of bothering me. Are we ready as a community for any, you know, large scale emergencies? And I know we have law enforcement, of course, and fire, but having an EOC, I think, may be something beneficial, so we're kind of exploring that. Okay, matters from the interim clerk treasurer.
Yes, I contacted New Mexico Municipal League because there was some information on their website about them producing and working on a pay plan with other municipalities. I called them and I spoke to one of the ladies there, and unfortunately the person who was working on that no longer works there, so she does not know where that's going at this time. But I did call S Resource, who did our pay plan back in 2015, I believe, and he's going to send us a proposal for what it would cost to upgrade our pay plan. And I'm working with him with some documents to send him that he needs, and then he can give us that, and then we can see if you want to move forward or do you want to go elsewhere. He did produce ours, and he did a really good job in 2016, and it was very thorough. So I will be bringing that information to you as I get it too from him.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I would say just, you know, getting the quotes that we need if it's over that threshold, and then, see where we want to go from there. We do have it budgeted. We've had it budgeted for a couple of years at least. Okay. So we're okay as far as that goes.
And the other item is, the budget, the 21-22 budget. I provided information in your packet, and if you have any questions, our town manager was able to review it as well. And so we're both prepared for questions, but If you want detail on line items, I have all that information. If you want overall, then our manager can give you that information.
Overall, our budget, is extremely good. We're, our revenue is above budget and our expenditures are below budget. And so, I'm very proud to announce that, the town's, cash flow wise is in a very good position.
I think that deserves
Thank you guys for this report, and, thank you to Amelia also. I know she's been working very hard on this too, to keep everything updated, and, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You want to make sure that you're spending the public's money on programs and roads, and, you know, so I know last year seemed, there wasn't really a lot happening, unfortunately, but that leaves us in a good position now. So that's the great news, is that we have the funds, to make capital purchases or, you know, hire from the open positions, et cetera, and that we're okay on budget. So that's very good news. Does the commission have comments or questions?
There's a line item on here for employee salary study. I was just wondering about that.
If you look at your attachment, and turn to the second page, the first page begins with legislative, and it shows your salaries and wages and where we're at, which is legislative is, the commissioners and the mayor. And then if you go to finance and administration, on the first page, the next to the last item on there, you'll see salaries and wages, and you'll see how that flows. And each page has the beginning wages and salaries and wages are on there. But if you want more detail, I can provide that, but that's for each department.
When I saw that line item, I thought it was a study to see if it were on par with other competitive employers, right? But it's really a report.
It's really our
Our
budget,
report. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Our line item.
Thank you.
Yes. And
Commissioner Powers, we did suggest that since the municipal league's report is not going to be proceeding, at least for the time being, that the clerk bring forward the quote that she's going to get from the previous vendor who had performed the services, and then if it's over the threshold, two other quotes for that study.
So there will be a study. I know inflation is really eating up buying power, and if we're gonna have decent wages for our employees, we need to know what's happening with the competitive levels. Thank you.
I have another item, but I just wanted to let you know that today we received our letter from DFA, and it is the detail that we need to follow in order to prepare the 22-23 budget and the timelines. So I'll forward this to all of you. I'll scan it and send it to you so that we know when to set up budget workshops, when the interim budget is due, the final budget, and everything that goes along with that.
Thank you so much. We'll probably start in April, right?
Yes, I don't know how many meetings, we've usually had 2, maybe 3 meetings if necessary, workshops.
Okay. Commissioners, anything else? I did notice a couple areas that will require a bar, so we'll work on those. One of them is the fire protection, which seems, I think we're going to be looking at that agreement as well, that MOU with the county, because the expenditures seem to be higher than we expected, so we'll look at that. Commissioner Anaya, anything before we move on?
No, no, I don't have anything at this point, but, as far as the budgets go, we'll look at the bars then.
I'd like to say one thing about that MOU with the county. We have made an approach to the county to talk about renegotiating the amount of money that we're not getting from the county, the amount that we're paying. As it turns out, the county is receiving about the same as we do in our annual budget from our generated GRT in the town of Edgewood, which is around $5 million a year. And in speaking with one of the commissioners, the theory is that the county rakes off a little bit for their overhead and operating expense and is supposed to return the bulk of that back to the community that is generating it in the form of services. We're not getting anywhere near that. So that's something I'd like to work on. As you said, with the MOU, and we can renegotiate what we're getting. We're actually paying out of pocket about $40,000 a month for fire protection services when we're sending $5 million a year north. So, something to work on.
Okay, matters from the interim town manager.
We have 5 positions that we have posted. One position is heavy equipment. Second is the maintenance supervisor. Two maintenance positions, a custodial position, and admin assistant position. And we have set up next week to interview six or seven people for these positions. The only position that we have not had any response is the custodial position. And so we'll just keep on posting that position. And with the staffing update, we did have the maintenance supervisor, but he decided that he wanted to stay with the road department. So we are interviewing one very good possible candidate for that next week. So bear with us. And then the action is that I would like for the approval and adoption of Resolution 2022-010, a resolution authorizing the assignment of authorized officers and agents for loan number CWSRF 087 for the wastewater. And we are asking for an extension of this loan, which was to be ending March 27th, 2022. And so we are asking for an extension, and they wanted to know how long we want the extension for, and we believe we should finish the project within 12 months, Commissioner Anaya, and to be safe, I was going to ask for 18 months extension. Thank you.
So when did that loan originate? Because I know it's been a while and they didn't expend it on the sewer plant for a number of years.
The reason that, I believe it was 2017, the reason is that this one is a loan, and they are going to give us a reduced interest rate from 2.5% to 1%. From the environmental department, and the reason we didn't use this loan yet is that we have other funds that we do not have to pay back and pay interest. So we're using this money at the very end of the project to save money on interest.
Can you tell us what the loan amount is?
I believe was it, I'm sorry, 450,000.
Okay.
550,000. 450. Thank you.
So we don't have to use that if the funds that we've got there, grants, suffice?
Or that we might just use part of it.
Okay.
It's a pull down.
And then I think there's 200 of grant
Yes.
within that agreement.
So the total is about $650,000.
So there's grant funds with it. But surprisingly, there's quite a bit of funding that has not been expended. So this loan has not, been needed at this point. And so it's actually good news again to have some money to be able to, improve the wastewater treatment plant. And so there's quite a bit of capital outlay monies from years past. All the way, this one all the way back from 2017. So that's good news, but a lot of work to get done. Yeah. So
Thank you.
So Commissioners, are you okay with the 18 months that, Manager Davis is suggesting?
It sounds smart.
Okay, do I have a motion then to approve the resolution with the 18-month extension?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the extension on resolution 2022-010.
I second.
Any discussion? And just to clarify, I'll read the title here, a resolution authorizing the assignment of authorized officers and agents for loan number CWS RF 087.
For 18 months.
Yes, the extension of 18 months. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Before we move on from the wastewater treatment plant, I just want to acknowledge Commissioner Naya has been doing a tremendous amount of work on this and, really getting the understanding of what's been going on. Before this, the engineers have kind of been running the show, and it's like letting the contractor who's building your house run the show. You don't really want that to happen. So I just want to say thanks a lot. You've been doing great work, and I'm really impressed with the amount of diligence that you've been showing.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you all for working for us. Yes.
Discussion and action items, animal control and welfare. First of all, I would like to make a motion to appoint Tim Miller to the Animal Welfare Advisory Committee. Is he here? Yes.
I'll second that.
Tim, can you come on up and tell us about yourself and why you applied for this?
Hello, my name's Tim Miller. I've lived in Edgewood for about 40 years, and I recently retired from the Sheriff's Department. I was a canine handler, and I worked for Bernalillo County pretty much for 26 years, mainly in narcotics. Before that, I worked at Sandia National Labs for 20 years. And so I have a pretty good working knowledge of canines and dogs. So it was just an interest of mine to try and improve the things that I knew could stand a little improvement. But I may be available to volunteer for other things in the future, depending on things go too.
Great. Any questions, Mr. Miller?
Thank you for stepping up.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, welcome. Animal control cages, we do have quotes.
Yes, I didn't get to make the motion, I was second on that.
I second it, and Mayor Harvey, I'll leave
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Ring, would you mind, Mike coming up and, presenting us the quote that we had to table last time?
Good evening. I don't actually have the quote in front of me, but these are the cages that we've been looking at trying to purchase now. The one difference in the quote, thank you, Jane, is that in talking to the chief, the shipping charges were quite high, so he suggested that we send the officers to the factory with a box truck to pick up the cages, and I think that'd be a more practical solution to save the town a little bit of money on the shipping, because shipping's $2,200 alone. So I think that's fairly doable. I did something similar to that when we got the second animal control truck. I drove to Texas and order to get the animal box installed from the factory. And that was a 2-day trip, but expenses weren't that much, and it certainly saved the town a lot of money. So, that's what I would suggest. I agree with the chief as far as doing that. We just have to find out when they're ready and organize, renting a vehicle that could haul them over.
Question, would there be any insurance issues with that, going out of state or anything?
That I'd have to look into. I mean, it's still being pulled by one of our vehicles, one of our trailers. It's not, going out above what we already have. As far as, transferring it, I wouldn't think so, but I will definitely look into it.
And then who would go?
We'd either send, I would like to send our 2 animal control guys to go pick it up, or at least one of them, and then maybe somebody else to go with. Because like, Mr. Ring said, $2,200 just to ship it from Texas to here, which is, to me, a very high cost just for one state over. And it would be minimal cost for, our employees to go pick it up and bring it back. And a much more reasonable, between travel and everything else, would be much more reasonable than $2,200. And, Chuck just advised me that the road department does have a gooseneck and flatbed that can be used to transfer.
Okay. Any questions on this?
Well, from a shipping and handling standpoint, sending 2 employees, would that be a straight there and back ordeal, or would they stay overnight?
They would probably stay overnight.
$2,200 at that point, you have to pay per diem, room and board. I mean, the $2,200 does seem steep, but in reality, that's probably fair, and you can get quotes from LTL freight companies and see who could do it for cheaper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
What was it called?
LTL. It's the shipping.
Less than truckload.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the freight companies. That's what they use. That's terminology. But you can get estimates. I can provide numerous different LTL companies that can probably provide quotes.
Okay.
From an insurance standpoint, I mean, there's just a lot that can happen. I think it's easier just to pay the shipping and handling, just find someone that does it for cheaper.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Mr. Ring.
Yes, sir.
Is this going to be enough?
It will certainly be enough. We're basically replacing the existing cages. With previous patterns of animal intake for felines, I think this would be a perfect number of cages. In addition, it has the ability they're all on casters, so they can be rolled around within the shelter. So if we did have an adoption event, they could be brought into the adoption room or the lobby, and that way they could be displayed better, because the cattery actually is a very small room. And if you get more than 3 adults inside of it, you can't really move around. So this would be another advantage of having these type work. The cages, they're existing, they're fixed in place. They're very heavy particle board. And there's not much you can do as far as displaying them.
Okay. Four enclosures, stacked, it's what, 12?
Well, there's 3
spots.
cages in each stack, and there would be, I believe it would be,
So you'd have 12.
yeah, I think, actually it should have been, positioned for 6 of them. That's what we calculated would fit in the room. So I can contact, the president of the company and see if there's a change, or if this was a misprint on the quote.
This could have been maybe the previous.
I was just making sure it was enough, because if it wasn't, we should get more.
Yeah, this particular quote that we have here is not the correct one. Okay. There should have been an updated version of that. I can email that to Stephanie and Kay. But the quote quote that we were looking at was 6 stacks.
Okay,
So that would give us enough capacity compared to what we have.
Okay, perfect. Just wanna make sure you guys have everything you need.
Question.
Commissioner Powers?
So these are just for cats, not for dogs, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how are we fixed for enclosures for dogs?
Well, the kennels, you have 10 cages, which are indoor, outdoor. Most of the time with the patterns of how many animals we get in, they're able to adopt them out or return them to their owners, fairly quick. So we never really had too much of a capacity problem. If they did get, some overload, you could have one canine inside, one canine outside, because there's a door that separates it. And that would be a temporary situation. There's also a play area out there where, compatible dogs could be put, just as a temporary means. And then, but generally, when animals come in, if they have some form of microchip or tag or something like that, we can get it back to the owners, usually within the same day. And also, the adoption, as long as we promote them, get them out there on Facebook and other areas, it seems like a lot of the residents support the shelter in coming in and adopting animals.
Right. You feel like we're in pretty good shape for capacity that way?
Yes, sir.
I'd also heard about grants that might be available for microchipping dogs.
There are some grants out there. We were doing microchipping. Basically, they were costing us about $10. We would charge $15 to implant a microchip. There are some programs out there through Petco and some other organizations that we're looking into to see if we can get grants in addition to spay and neuter grants as well. A lot of these companies are very generous in their grants, and all we have to provide to them is detailed statistics of numbers of animals and things of that nature.
Great, I'm glad you're looking at that, thanks.
Okay.
I did want to update everyone, since the last meeting on this, about, the purchasing side of it. So, previously, the vendor was not willing to allow us to order them without a deposit. And so even though we had explained in the past that that was not allowed, he was insisting on that. So as we stated before, I was looking into options for that, and I wasn't really aware of anything, but I did know that DSA at the state level does make exceptions sometimes for certain things at the state level, and that it required a white paper that would have to go to the Department of Finance and Administration. So I called DSA just to check and see if there was anything for local government, and you know, we just weren't aware of anything that would allow us to have an exception to that. In the meantime, I did send an email to the vendor and gave him a snip of the actual statute and explained to him that a purchase order is a valid contract and that a vote by the commission is, you know, a legal decision that he could rely upon. And so he was willing to allow us to go ahead and pay after we have received the goods. So, yeah, great news.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to thank you. When that gentleman has been, he was a little hard to work with dealing with this, and when you laid it out to him, I think that made all the difference in the world. And I want to thank you and Mr. Ring, because I think that's what pushed it to that next level. So I want to thank you for that.
Sure, no problem. And then I think I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of these cages, including shipping, for up to $20,000, which would be right below, so $19,999.99, just to give you that room, because we don't know the exact dollar amount that with the shipping it but at least we can approve the purchase.
And I have the updated quote here, and with their shipping, it would have come down to $21,380. But if we get a reduced rate for shipping, it would be less than that, of course.
So that's pretty close, isn't it? Are we, remind me, as far as the quotes, we received quotes from other places?
Well, we did, I would have to pull those back up. This was the most competitive, and the reason we went with these, and Ms. Ring, correct me if I'm wrong, they were the ones that best fit our facility. That was going to be the most, that fit well, that we would be able to, because one of the problems that we always had was the heat in there, like we had talked about the one time. These ones are not like that, and they won't gain that heat, so it's not a concern that we have to deal with in the future. But, that's what the rest of them were the pure metal ones, stainless steel, to be specific.
Right, so it seems like this was the only source of cages that, because just to explain to the public, the way, where the cages are at, the sun comes beating in right there. And if they were to have, you know, metal cages, it just gets, I mean, that would be unbearable for them, right? That would be horrible.
We always had a problem with that, even with the wooden cages we had, so we try to put up sunscreens and that. It's mainly in the summertime when the sun comes up in the east until about noon. But that room is always kind of warm. There's only one air conditioning duct that the air conditioning works on. So the flow of that, and I had another idea. The thermostat for that room and the adoption room is wireless. We could relocate the thermostat into the cattery room, and that would control the temperature much better. And since it's wireless, that's an easy changeover. And we get a true temperature in that cattery room to keep the animals comfortable.
So since it's looking like this could, with the shipping, go over 20, maybe we just approve the purchase, and then, of course, the CPO, you're gonna make sure that the quotes are all in the file and everything, you know, is okay according to our procurement policy. And,
I have an idea,
sure.
because we do this in my business quite often, where we will, split up the, quote. You can do it, the shipping does not have to be included in the quote. You can have it separated where we take care of the freight, and it's a completely different purchase. So you can still do the 20,000 and then have the freight charges we take care of on our side. And more than likely it'll be under the 3,000, where we could do a small purchase.
Okay. So either way, just on that note, it's not like we're breaking it up to avoid procurement. The procurement's already done, right? So
Yes, what I'm saying
what
is
you're saying
it's a
is
way
the
of us
shipping.
not having to go through all of the additional steps of having to go through all the additional approvals that we have to do because it's over 20,000.
Well, we have to anyway.
Let me rephrase this so it doesn't sound. It would be below the 20,000 mark, and we could have it to where we take care of the freight separately.
Yeah.
It does not have to be a part of the same quote.
Right. Because we'll take care
Separate
of the
purchases.
You're gonna get quotes separately for the shipping. Is what
Exactly,
you're
that's
trying to
about what
say.
we're about
So-
to say. It'd be a separate company, not the company that we're purchasing these
Right.
from, which would be two totally separate purchases.
Commissioner Powers.
But as I understand it, at the $20,000 level up to 60,000, the procurement requirement is to have 3 written quotes.
Yes,
correct?
and they have
We
that.
have that, so we have complied already. So, okay, I
Yes.
just want to be clear about that.
If I may mention a couple of things, one was also with this company, the lead time to make the cages is 12 weeks. The other companies, we were looking at September, October as far as completion of manufacturing. In addition, the quote that I pulled up on my email, the total amount was $21,380. However, the freight charge was $2,480. So if you take that away from that, the freight charge, I'm sure it'd be a lot less, and that would get you under the 20,000.
And we're okay at above the 20,000. It's not really an issue since we've complied already with the 3 written quotes, but yeah, I appreciate the input. So whatever's best in the way of how to get it here, I think is what we ought to focus on.
Yes, sir.
We can save money by using part.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
Okay,
Save money.
can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the purchase of the, animal control cages.
I'll second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, Parks and Recreation, I move to appoint Allison Apple to Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
I second.
Allison, can you come up and tell us about yourself and stand for any questions?
I am Allison Apple, and I have been in the town of Edgewood for about 3 years. And coming to Edgewood, the first thing I want to look for is what are the fun things that families and parents and other neighbors and things can get together and do as fun activities. And so I'm here, want to be part of this board so I can contribute some of the skills and talents that I've accrued over the years with other agencies and other towns and cities and organizations. I came from Oregon, and I feel confident that I do have some things to add and contribute to this town.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
Thank you. Appreciate you donating your time and your energy to this. I looked at your Facebook page, and it was replete with lots of childhood activities, children activities, and it looked great. So really appreciate you coming forward and contributing to that.
Welcome.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I thought she was a reporter. Been watching her, this is the second meeting she came in, and I thought, okay, who's here? Anyhow, welcome, thank you very much.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Allison. Proposed, position description for the Parks and Recreation Manager. Who would like to update us on that? This is just kind of to let the public know that you guys have been working on it. Bryce, would you like to come up?
Yeah, this is, essentially just what we had finished working on before the revolution took place that got rid of the Parks and Rec Committee before. We took a look at, what was existing. I think, Karina had done some work on it, and the work that she had done was actually pretty good. I was probably impressed. There was a couple changes in there that were needed because in the draft that I reviewed originally, it said that she was going to create data for presentation and being an engineer, the creation of data disturbs it a little bit, so I changed that to say collect and interpret the data, because data is something that exists on its own. Change some descriptions. One of the things that we wanted to make sure of that would be a notable change is the fact that the previous Parks and Administrator, Roger Holden, was not only an administrative person, a grant seeker, a high idea person, but he was also a grunt in terms of having to wrap his hands around shovels and picks and bags of cement and crack sealing and stuff like that. And in my opinion, and I think the opinion of the rest of the group, is that this individual is not someone who needs to get down there on his hands and knees and get dirty. He's got far more important things to do. So we tried
tried to write out as much as is possible, every reference to the manual labor side of things, with the consideration that if manual labor is needed, he can get the support he needs from other town support personnel. So that's a change in this one that we tried to make. And the rest of it, seemed pretty straightforward, so, with that being said, I guess I would stand to any questions.
From me?
Yes.
I just have one question. It requires a bachelor's degree with the caveat that 3 years of directly related work experience can substitute.
Correct.
So would that be, when it says directly related work experience, would that be just as a Parks and Rec director, or?
Well, we didn't get as specific as that, didn't think it was necessary, but, you know, obviously a gas station attendant probably wouldn't comply. But somebody who's in their terms of, planning and development, community recreational services, things like that, was what we specifically envisioned.
Okay, that makes sense to me, because there are a lot of people that may have even worked on the Parks and Rec committee for years and have substantial knowledge, like you were describing, Mr. Holden, right?
Exactly, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, thank you.
We did also update that the, oh no, I'm thinking of the ordinance, never mind.
Yeah, we're gonna slime you with that on the next meeting.
This is a full-time position, right?
No, it's a part-time. We're visioning 30 hours with compensation so that we can try to attract somebody of some decent quality. It was originally intended to be 20 hours, but at 20 hours, the comp package didn't seem adequate to attract the kinds of people that we want to get on this. So with the current regime, the current rules, we thought it would be more appropriate to put this in at 30 hours and include in the package enough to entice somebody of some quality to come into this thing. Another side detail there is that with Roger was here, he was being paid, correct me if I'm wrong, Ralph, or anybody, I think for 20 hours, but in reality, he was putting like 60 hours in a week. He was all the time doing this stuff. So the reality is that certainly for one person, 30 hours is not unreasonable, and probably even at that, it's not sufficient.
And that also included just the park portion, not the recreation park portion. All of that was all inclusive in the park.
Can you repeat what she said for the audience that's here?
She indicated that, that was just for the park side, not for the recreation side. And bless her heart, I'm so glad she's on board here, because she's going to provide extra motivation for us to evolve to the point and the complexity and the sophistication that we've all just dreamed about before. So that's going to be a good thing. Excellent.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed position description for Parks and Recreation Manager.
Second.
Any other discussion? Stephanie, does this look like it has everything it needs?
Yes, Mayor, because I looked over the previous one that was administrator, so, there weren't a lot of changes, just minimal, as Mr. Simon did say. And it is in format as what we have with our other job description.
Okay, perfect.
Do you think we should make this an hourly position versus a salary so that that person's compensated fairly?
It was hourly previously, and, as he said, Mr. Holden was only 20 hours because of, other commitments and other.
Oh, okay.
Paid. So with 30 hours, we looked into that, and they would have the full benefit packages that we offer. 20 hours, they would not be able to participate like in PIRA or, the insurance benefits.
Okay.
That's why it has to be a little higher in hours.
So the pay is structured hourly as opposed to salary?
Yes, he was hourly previously. But, I mean, we're coming up with the new pay scales, and we could look at that on there and instead of putting an hourly, we could just leave that blank and there would be a salary. It would be your call. If I could suggest, we could also bring you a dollar amount that would include all the benefits, you know, where it has the full amount of the wages and everything that they would participate in.
Yeah.
We could bring you that full amount.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, and I think it'll be dependent on experience too. I mean, because if they want salary, I don't have an issue with that. If they want hourly, same way, I don't really have an issue with it.
We can bring that to you, because I know that our manager can, she can put all the dollar amounts in there along with Amelia, and we would look at the insurance at the highest level, and the town's portion, and also the employee's portion.
Yeah, I feel flexible too about it, so, but not something we have to decide here with just the description itself. So, any other discussion or questions?
Madam Chair, I have one question. Is that a .75?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, we also have the budget to go either way for now. There's another budget, since it hasn't been touched in a while, there's money still. Depends on when you would want them to start.
Okay.
When was the last time we had a Parks and Rec administrator?
I don't know, sir. When I left in 2016, we had, that's when we had Roger. And I understand he retired after that. I don't know who else has been in that position.
Corina, it's been a couple of years.
Okay. It's good to get this rolling again.
Yeah, it feels great. It's very exciting.
Do any of you folks in Parks and Rec have somebody in mind for this position?
One of the members, Ben Wilbank, has expressed an interest in applying for this position. If in fact he's successful in that endeavor, then we would need to have another replacement volunteer in his place.
Okay, so what he said was, Ben.
Ben Wilbank, yeah.
That has expressed interest and, is interested in the position, and if he ends up getting that, we're gonna have to find his replacement.
There's one other.
Well, I was also interested, but Ben and I have talked a lot about this, and we've also talked about it in advisory, is that because this is so, split in half, you've got all the information that needs to go to parks and all the information that goes to recreation, it almost needs to be split. Because they're both really heavy.
Would you mind coming up to the mic, and, because I think the public needs to hear that.
Well, we had talked about the need to split the two for one purpose. One is a lot of the time and energy and actually funds need to start moving toward the recreation side. Ben is very good. I mean, he's an engineer, so he understands the park portion. And of course, I wanted to also go for this position as well, but I don't know enough about the park side, but I do know quite a bit about the recreation side. So we had mentioned in our advisory meeting is to split it. I don't know if that's split the 30 hours, I do 15, he does 15, if that was a hiring situation, or I just volunteer as part of the advisory to help move the recreation forward. So that was just our ideas we had.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, so, and I'll just, remind the commissioners that this is a position that falls under the town manager, and of course will be posted in accordance with all of the personnel policy, you know, the normal way that it goes through, and there will be, an interviewing process, and just like usual, which then will be the, town manager's decision, so. Okay, anything else? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next, for discussion and action, usage, lease or sale of Old Town Hall on Route 66. Now, where we left off last time on this was, basically researching what needed to happen next in the steps, if we were going to lease the building. And per the state statute, the answer to that is that we have to obtain a current appraisal. And so what I guess I'm asking for tonight is, a motion and approval to obtain a current appraisal on Old Town Hall on Route 66.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Naya.
I'd like to make a motion that we obtain a current appraisal on the old town hall on Route 66.
I second.
With the motion and second, do we have, any questions or comments? I know we discussed this quite a bit last time, but
Will this be, appraisal be limited just to the value for sale or include the option to lease and a value assigned for lease?
Both.
Okay.
that's a good question. We might as well, since we're paying for the appraisals.
Current
you know,
market
if
value,
they're both.
I'm sure, has gone up in Edgewood for lease as well.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this topic?
So is this a basic, appraisal like you would for the house, or is this would be a market analysis like you would get from a realtor?
It's from an appraiser, not just a market analysis. Yeah, it's much a more official
More depth.
report. Yeah. But they will look at comps and everything in the area too. Any other comments? Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have general public comments. Come on up.
No, you go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead.
Fine, you go first.
There's time for everybody.
Since I
Can you
live
state your
on,
name again and your address?
Stephen Lampton, Appaloosa.
Thank you.
Since I live on Appaloosa and it's finally going to get paved, okay? I'm in the process of having my fence redone. I just want to make sure that I'm not in the right of way. So there's a lot of fences on Appaloosa. And I don't want to put up, spend $8,000 to have my front fence done and find out it's not in the right place. So is there somebody that could possibly look at that, make sure that we're not in the easement?
Yes, absolutely. So, I guess I would refer you to, first of all, our town manager, Kay Davis, but then she can connect you with most likely, P&Z and roads department to collaborate and just check
We'll
it
work
out.
with you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at 32 Appaloosa, so. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate getting the road paved. I've approached every administration for 12 years, and it's finally coming true. Thank you very much.
Okay, Madam Chair, we have on Appaloosa, we've already have the drawings, and in the drawings, they have have already been staked, to my understanding, so it would be really easy to tell where the boundaries are currently.
Okay, great.
I've seen the stakes on the north side, but I've never seen any on the south side that I live on.
They should be on both sides of the road.
Should be.
Yeah.
I'll verify for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
I'm Crystal Riddle, and I live on Church Street. Speaking of paving, it's my understanding that the money was allocated to do it before COVID. And then now, of course, with prices what they are, there's not enough money in that. I also understand that that money will be lost if it's not used within a certain amount of time. And I'm asking that the town of Edgewood pay for the rest for the difference between what is already allocated and what it costs to get it done. Four-wheel drive up and down that road is crazy, and the dust from the traffic. We have semis, we have school buses, just a lot of traffic. And I've had 3 vehicles flip over in my yard just because that road becomes a washboard in a heartbeat. Anyway, I just want to push to get Church Street paved.
Can I ask you a question, ma'am?
Sure.
You live on the north side or south side of Church?
Well, I live on the north side.
On the north side,
Yep, John Bassett's property is on the south side.
across from, okay, I see. So you're east of Aspen a little ways?
Yes. I'm the one with the muddy driveway.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Anyone else in the room? Okay. All right, let's go to caller number 2. Maybe if you can unmute caller number 2. If you have any comments, go ahead. Okay, and then on go to meeting, Susan Hill, you can unmute yourself if you have any comments. Okay, that's it for general public comment then. Future meetings and proposed agenda items are listed here. I guess it's just future meetings in this part. We do need to discuss when to have the workshop on cannabis, the special meeting workshop. Commissioner Brennan, when were you thinking of having this?
Well, I was thinking of Wednesday, but I understand that, Commissioner Anaya has something going on in Santa Fe on Wednesday, so hopefully that won't work then. And I think isn't Tuesday when the DZ does their meeting? So how about Thursday? Does Thursday sound good for everybody?
Is that Thursday the 10th?
I'm out of town.
Can you zoom in?
Possibly. I don't know what my day is looking like. When do you get back? Oh, jeez, okay.
Okay. I would suggest
How about Monday?
moving forward. Well, we have the public hearing for this ordinance on the 15th. And we will need to have the draft in the packet for, the 10th.
Which Monday were you referring to? It's coming Monday.
Monday the 7th.
Just 7th?
I mean, I may or may not attend, but so whatever works for you all. Commissioners, can you,
Sorry.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Anaya?
Commissioner Brennan, if it's possible, we could go ahead and do it on the 9th, and then, Commissioner Powers and I were just discussing that we could move the one that we had on Wednesday,
If that will work.
if that would work for
Wednesday
you.
works.
And can we get it noticed by the 9th? Oh, yeah, we can. We're only the 1st.
Yeah.
So,
We'll move that meeting.
Okay, hold on just 1 second here. So it was suggested Monday the 7th, because Commissioner Donner is out of town. Does that work for you guys?
Well, you said you'd be in town on the 9th?
Yeah, I'll be in town the 9th.
All right, so the Wednesday would work better.
Okay, Wednesday then. And moving what?
We have a meeting, Phil and I have a meeting in Santa Fe that day, but we're gonna move it.
Oh, okay, all right. Capital projects,
Yeah,
okay. So that's fine then. And what time, Commissioner Brennan?
I was gonna go ahead and suggest a standard meeting time at 6:30, that way the public has an opportunity to attend. Get off of work, get their dinner done.
Okay, great idea. We have a special meeting workshop on the cannabis, well, okay. Yes, that will work. In looking at the requirements for the public hearing, it just states that, you know, final decisions. So this workshop will not be making decisions, it will be gathering input.
Right.
Okay? Okay. All right, anything else on future meetings or proposed agenda items? On the procurement ordinance, I still would like to hear from the public on thresholds that you believe may be appropriate, for us, like to go out to bid or get quotes. There's just a whole variety in practice of how municipalities do it. But right now it's sitting at a pretty high level for RFPs. They're going out to bid at 60,000, which is state level. And we could drop that. I'm curious. I've heard from just only a couple people. In economic development, do you have any comments on that? You've had a lot of input.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it's too much stuff.
No, I don't want the whole description.
No,
Yeah.
there's a lot of interest, and, there's a lot of good things that are
Good.
gonna come from it.
Okay. And we have the red line version already ready to go for the, Parks and Rec Committee ordinance, if, you know, that's available, if anybody would like to request that, and it'll be posted as well. Okay. We go into closed session.
I have a question before we go into closed session.
Commissioner Powers.
Do you think it's a good idea that we inform the public about the nature of these sessions? I mean, the subject matter of what it is that we're going into closed session on? I mean, not giving up any strategy or anything like that would harm the town, but just what they're about.
I think that, you know, for openness and transparency, it's always a good idea to let the public know what's, you know, what's happening, what's going on. If there's, what do you all think, general description?
Yeah, it's just basically disclosing the topic, it's not disclosing the, confidential, discussion.
Right, nothing confidential or privileged would be okay. Commissioner and I, are you okay with that?
I'm fine.
Okay. All right, yes.
There's language in state statute that tells you how to disclose, closed session. I said, I was asking the mayor, I think, I'm not sure if there's, language in the state statutes about a closed session and how much that you should put on your agenda.
Yes, we do have that on here tonight, and this is per the state statute, correct? Yes, that is correct. We are in compliance with that fully. I think what we need to do, Commissioner Powers, is go ahead and have the motion read and the second, and then, for discussion, if you have comments, then we can go that way. Okay? Yes, Stephanie, go ahead.
You forgot, before you go into closed session, you still need one more agenda item prior to that, the one right above it.
Oh, the future agenda item. Thank you. I think I did ask, but I don't think anybody had anything.
On approval of past minutes.
Just that continues. No, just mentioning, you know, the future agenda items. And if you had anything, now would be a good time to bring it up. Okay. Do I have a motion to go into closed executive session? And you'll have to read all of the various topics here. Whoever feels like reading.
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Thank you.
So I make a motion that we go into executive closed session, subject to section 1015-1H2 for confidential discussion on hiring, promotion, demotion, dismissal, assignment, or resignation of a public employee or the investigation or consideration of complaints or charges against an employee, specifically the chief of police and the hiring of employment contracts of an interim town manager and interim clerk treasurer, and also for the purpose subject to the same section for confidential discussion regarding litigation by John Bassett, and the same section for confidential discussion regarding possible litigation by Aurochs Engineering for unpaid invoices for work performed for the town. and for confidential discussion regarding pending litigation, McGill et al. Versus John Bassett et al. And the related Court of Appeals case A-1-CA-39388 update and obtaining town records from the prior law firm. And also for confidential discussion regarding pending litigation, Joseph Campbell versus the town of Edgewood et al. And Cheryl Hubbard versus the town of Edgewood.
I second.
Thank you. One clarification that is, section H2 for the personnel matters and H7 for the litigation.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Powers, with your comments.
Just for openness and transparency with the town, we'd rather talk about all the good things that are going on, but there are challenges. And the discussion tonight with regard to some of this litigation, so you know what it is, the John Bassett was sued to get money back for the town that was misappropriated for the purpose of public or for personal benefit. The town or the parties that sued, Mr. Bassett sued on behalf of the town of Edgewood. Edgewood has now decided to pick up that lawsuit and intervene, and has filed a motion with the district court to do that. Because it is the town's money, and the burden we believe should be on the town to go after their own money. The other items that were on there, this actually relates somewhat to Church Street. Horrocks Engineering was the company that actually did the engineering for Church Street. And come to find out that they have not been paid for a lot of that work, and it's created a big problem with Church Street. There were changes back and forth with the engineering, pushing the road further north than it ought to go, right through people's yards. Problems with the drainage that were not taken into account and had to be redone and then reverted back to the old plan. So that's part of what we're trying to sort out. The other item is the litigation. There's new litigation where John Bassett has now sued the town, asking the town to pay for the defense of his legal fees for the recovery of the money that the town is now suing him for. So we have to defend that, of course. So there's also pending litigation with from Joseph Campbell, who is an attorney here, a local attorney. He's bringing the suit in his own name. However, these suits in some ways seem related because Mr. Campbell has also represented Mr. Bassett. And then Cheryl Hubbard versus the town of Edgewood, that's a lawsuit regarding money damages related to suing the town to retrieve personal emails of the former counselors, Harmeo and Sherry Abraham. So that's the subject matter of these. We go into closed session because to give up strategic information would harm the town and their case in these situations. So that, I think, is kind of the synopsis of why we're doing what we're doing.
Thank you, Commissioner Powers. Any other comments or questions? Okay, we have to do this on roll call vote to go into closed session. Commissioner Powers?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Donner?
Aye.
Commissioner Naya?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Session at 8:09.
Somebody asked me about Angus Campbell.
Say again?
Somebody asked me about Angus Campbell. I didn't know you.
Who's Angus Campbell?
Oh, you don't know who he is. He was on Church Street down there. Behind this. Somebody else. I just read him today.
Living on that square. But you got that doesn't bother her, it drives me.
But you're, and I get that, but when they make it legal, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it has to be clean. Anyone under 21 says it's stuff off the street, anything you get off the street now could be poisoned with fentanyl. And other things that make you even more, right, so it's a real serious situation. So why don't we bring our article on this, 16 years old, on track to $2 crime, great kid, fighting his party with his friends. And died, yeah, so that's where I'm going with this, because the young kids are still gonna get it wherever they can get it, we still have to kill the willpower expansion on that. When they open dispensaries, which is gonna happen anyway, but you have people over 21 that are not gonna go and pick up marijuana from that guy on the corner anymore, because he'll get his ear clean. Okay?
I don't know what they have, what they
People
don't.
use it, and now it's so dangerous. Right, right, that's right. That's right. Right, but there's a lot of other things as well, state laws.
But everybody's focused on the commercial part of it. All of your neighbors can be growing it in their backyard.
Right, you can grow, and then that's right, that's okay. Yep.
And so many ounces of the actual plant, so many ounces of, there's 3 different things, plant. So liquids, like the CBD oil. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, make oils out of it.
That you can have in your house. It's like, okay, they have gentlemen in Texas, that someone told them, yeah, sell it out of your house. Starting to do the well, the state would ask you.
They're reworking.
Sell any of it, yeah, it's only personal use, so if he really believes that he can sell it out of here, yeah, you don't just, oh, someone tells you that, you just move there.
They talk about micro businesses, okay? Micro businesses, and, something as simple as marijuana grounds, having certified one, yeah. I don't know if they're gonna bring
How close are your neighbors?
But, I mean, Ralph brought up that, the odor and the smell and all the hair. Well, part of that, though, is by, like he said, salt and
So, and they're not gonna allow people to sell it out of their house. And they're not, I don't think they're gonna be throwing out licenses to everybody. I think you have to prove that you're clean. Okay, they have to find all of that. But they're not gonna want a lot of people to have the ability to sell marijuana because you don't know what they put in it.
Well, that's why you can't sell your salsa.
Right. You know, someone could be allergic to that little leaf that got left in that carrot, and you could kill someone. And there's nothing wrong with your salsa, but you could kill somebody. But when you have a business and you have a license to do it, you have insurance, you're liable for things like that. I'm not happy about it going that people can buy it recreationally, but it will. I think what we need eventually, just without even looking at the bill, even looking at any of that yet, that we should not allow any growing commercially here. We do not have the water to support growing commercially.
Yeah, the water right. That's after right there.
Got the water right.
He's got the water right.
And then you got the, and that's why, where it's,
commercial. I mean, it's commercial.
he can grow, he can't sell it.
Right, yeah, but it has to be still one manufacturing zone. The zone can grow it. I don't get manufacturing. I don't think we have any. I don't think we have a whole side of it, like a whole side area. The blue and that's right, one side is Walmart. But I'm not a hundred sure. That one there is, okay, I wasn't sure what that was. But that's the only, like, area that, you know, I don't. We are going to have 30 roads, right next to the depot, that goes back behind my church. We're going somewhere, we're going to planning, so they're taking out of space. Somebody over here is like storing it, like, you could drive by. And that's the board, too, on the floor. How is it supposed to? I don't know, I'm gonna wash your down into the wastewater treatment plant. Whatever you're making your community oil. Stuff down or wiping off the counter, taking out the bottle. So, how do you? Yeah. And there's, you know, they have all these things in the state statutes, but they overlook so many other things. You know, like when they fix the election.
More on the left.
You know, and the law is so general, that it comes to the whole thing, so it doesn't have to be, you know, try to get it, except for things that we have to allow it to, but we can restrict it to being attached to the retail store. So if you're selling it here, you want to provide a tasting room, you cannot have a tasting room in the back of the store. You have to get another permit, another license, and another store. And that's how we figure that out.
Now, I say that is just stupid, because what do? People buy some, they go in a tasting room, they smoke a joint, they get on the road, and they drive.
So by making it two separate storefronts, that's permit, you like.
Yeah, but it's still like, it's just like leaving a bar drunk. You know, it's not like you smoke it and 10 minutes later, you're fine. It takes a little while. It's not something you do and then get on the road.
That was like the guy that goes here, medical marijuana, and as far as I'm concerned, medical marijuana and recreational marijuana are two separate things. No, they're not.
Well,
but in my mind, they are.
it's just not abuse, but I use
do that, and that's completely individual. It's completely, if you're an addicted person, you're gonna move on to other stuff, you're gonna get caught into it, and you're gonna need it, and that's an issue. If you're not an addicted person, then you can use it as you need it, and like for medical, yeah, it's be responsible, that's all. So go to the
That's not gonna work. So there's a lot of stuff in there. Even now that it has.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it, I think I
They've
should.
been talking a lot with potential fire. They've got a really nice ordinance. They've allowed for it, and they have it on just one side of the street, potential fire, on the commercial side. And they limited how many they can have in town. By fire. People there have their strict ordinance. They'll be lucky if they get one. The problem is, yeah. And there's lawyers looking for it. And they're watching every one. We think the threat of, Rio Rancho. Another one here in the state. That seems to be pretty comparable, pretty fair. So that's what they've been doing all over the place. But they've been here and there. And Rio Rancho is totally different. Yeah. So I like things, you can pull it up. If you wanna look at, even if you are just state, you go to city state, Angel Fire, -newmexico.gov, and you just have to search through their website. Because I pulled up Angel Fire the other day, and there's Hanson calling the manager of Angel Fire, and that's what they were talking about. He was very nice to call. Yeah, last week, called me. Work with that, offered to help with the problem. So the workshops are really good. I'm looking for. Yes, there are, I mean, if you don't have it, you just will embrace it. Yep. And you have to just, yeah, right, you have to just, like, come and have to deal with it. So that's what I'm saying.
I wish I knew that Sunday, so I didn't have any, and I didn't go to the store, because I couldn't buy any here. I should have, yeah, my mom has that. Everybody's like, I'm not covered. Is there a crowd? I'll come this way, sure. Come over anytime. I got whatever you want. We really have to get together one day. Besides just meeting here and doing that.
Well, come sometime. I mean, that's right. Oh, I don't know. Just come to my house. I'm in the backyard now. Over there, we'll sit on the back patio with the hot dog. That was always.
Oh, okay.
Left there right now. A lot of people come out here, still the person around here.
After that COVID lockdown for so long.
Yeah.
That's what
It is, I finally know what my doctor looks like now.
Did you hear this one woman, she is in Connecticut, and she was yelling about getting rid of this Band-Aid, especially for kids. And she said, let me tell you how great this Band-Aid is. My daughter's been going to school for 4 months now. They take the mask Band-Aid away. She takes her little mask off, she goes into the classroom, and she's like, it's so good, she's like, so glad you're back. And, I didn't even notice her, she's like, your mask on. She goes, my 6-year-old was so hurt, her teacher didn't know.
Oh, and she was teasing.
Terrified. And you know, a big part of that is because they were so happy and wrapped up on the electronics. Now they're growing up and it doesn't fill that hole because they need the social part of it, which they haven't developed. Especially with COVID, even made it worse. But I know my grandkids, they don't go out and visit their friends. They don't have their friends over running around the house. Everybody's chasing them. Inside. Yep, yep. I wonder, pick up or whatever they're doing. Addie, when she had a teacher test, and I know that part of her training was watch us stay, have love. Because they're developing, now the lip, yeah. And
Or get a running start.
you know, the social demonstration of this. And then especially in Mexico. You know, I talked to my teacher, right. Not everything. And she was voted the worst governor. Don't control me. I really, my back is so far in the air. We went to the home show Sunday, and there was a kid there that was doing facial things. Interesting accent. Very interesting, really cool. Turkish. And I said, oh, okay, in Russia, but I don't say that. And he's like, well, I don't blame you there. And I said, it's your leader. I was just talking and all, and he was telling me to step down in Russia. I said, I just don't say it. I said, I think you should, you're safer here. And he goes, well, that's so sorry. There we go. And I said, now that's Sergio, take me a damn fool. There's more guns in this town alone than there is in Ukraine. Yeah. I said, I'd like to see him come knock on my door. You won't come. It's not about him saying that one out. My sister lives in Alaska, so my mother's decided. You know, they gave away Alaska. Yes, they did. $1, I think it was. But yep. She goes, but isn't there an issue up there now about the oil in the Arctic Circle? Uh-huh. She goes, and isn't that issue like really between the United States and Russia on who gets to claim that land? I said, yeah, quite a bonus attention. What if he wants to go back, so he doesn't have to worry about that problem anymore? He'll have the entire Arctic Circle. And I said, well, Mom, you've got to wait till the winter when the Bering Sea freezes over, and then you can just walk across. Yeah. So now she's convinced as soon as it freezes. But they have a lot of Russians. He's not all here just like our president. We have two power leaders, power countries, they're leaders, and neither one of them have it up there anymore. Both of them have it. Yes. That's very scary. We just pray. Yeah, that's what we do. I pray that the return of this Jesus come back and clean up this mess. It's an awful place right now. Just pray. My mom prayed to die. My stepdad. I don't want to see it. And I'm glad he died before. Yeah, he doesn't look like it.
He is. We are.
He doesn't have a plan that we don't understand.
That's right. Our church is going. Yeah. And really, we're reading about our church does a theme. We go through a certain book, in Mount Valley. And, right now we're reading all the minor prophets. And if you read the minor prophets, it is all about God telling, well, look at you. Look at this town. Look at Nibia. It's called ornament. It's called this and it's called that. So the Babylonians were doing the same thing. So he puts the idea in the Babylonian mind, and the evil king from Babylonians come over and kills the people in Nineveh. So he kills both evils together. Okay? But it's against each other. So, it's like, well, now it makes you think what Russia and our government is done by those two figureheads. They have nothing to do with it. They're just fake shit. Nothing to do with it.
Oh my goodness, like the very first book, seven from Adam, Noah's his grandson. I'm looking. No, this is really cool. He was talking about living out your whole life. I'm like, well, that's really nice. Full life, and I'm 700 years. I'm like, oh, the bad people got to the 500 years. So I just thought it was a chapter talking about hell. Oh, wow, there's where the fire and brimstone comes from. There's where this comes from.
It doesn't really get to close your eyes. I love
Right, I can remember that one.
and everybody wants to put that part out of their mind.
Yeah.
But everybody
One point or another. One point or another.
and in reality, you have to do your best that you can do. Like I tell my grandkids,
I used to make a list on things I didn't understand. Why did I not do this? I wasn't really accusatory. I'm stupid, explaining why. My mother-in-law heard me talking to Ken about put it on the list.
yeah.
About it in a few years. What? Very about Catholic. That's less. He's my father in heaven, and she knew what happened. I can ask him for a blessing, and he asked me for help. Why can't I ask?
Job did ask.
Yeah. And she didn't ask. I know you understand. How long? She goes, what you do with the rest of them? You better not. Shut up long enough. I kept still long enough that I could hear it. He told me, no, that's fine. They shall disappear wherever, where. So what do you think now? Yeah, everything's fine. Every time I want to talk to me, okay, that's all right. I'm very good smart enough. I think when you have a child, then you understand. That was a little impressive. I agree. It's not us, it's us. I just have to do with the easiest was go through the Suez Canal. Port Said. That's Port Suez. Anchor. Really the only. And that's part of the Africa. The only part of. At the end of the Suez Canal, down around the corner, it's a fuel stop. It's a little continent. Yeah, it's southeast, after you get out of the canal. You can stop there for a fuel. There's got to be a correlation. I don't really want to think about it. Allowed to step off. Well, if you were out 100 days straight, they probably have enough to be here for everybody. But this one was a fuel stop. You got out, stepped on the ground, 20 minutes, and had to go back up. That's all. Piece of land, I got it. We were in, my mom said, started and I'm like, Mom, serious, she goes, really? She said, moms are at home, and you can watch the kids, and the kids were not running around, and there's structure and all this, and the dad was home. She said, honestly, when the family unit fell apart. On the other side of the government. The father, mother, and abandoned me. And have a baby all over town. And that's I mean, I worked in a pregnancy center, and I can't tell you how many women would come in and they'd have 1, 2, 3, and now they're pregnant with number 4, and they're all different babies. I worked for last year I was there, a gal came in, and she was so mad because her oldest aged out. Serious, she lost that money. She put on Facebook for a sperm, no strings attached, I just need a baby to my dad. Very good. I'm like, it is awful. I left my pregnancy center in Florida when I moved here, but something happened right before I left there. And my job there was to interview the women when they come in, when they're going into what we have what's called the Earn White Card program. And they would come in and they'd watch a video, and we would watch the video, and we talk to them about, everything, what's going on with your body, and we would go through these different trimesters, and, so they would earn subsidies, they earn points, so they could trade in for baby stuff from our center. And we would get the churches to donate stuff, so that it wasn't, $5 for a baby stuff, it was only $1 or a point, really. Yeah. So, this one lady, like she came in, and she was so excited, she was having twins, and we're talking, and I'm, having a great time, she's so face. That was my face. It broke my heart that night, and I was so happy that I was already had plans to be leaving Appraisal Center. Because when she dropped that on me, and I can't say a word. No judgment, cannot say a word. So I hope I excused myself well enough, she didn't notice. And I went on with filling out the questionnaire, and that was it. When I left that day, my heart was no longer in it, and I only had like 4 or 5 days left. I went and I did my days, and my heart was not in it. I was so glad. And then we had a family thing, so I had to leave for 1 week. That was the end of my thing anyway.
Yeah, that's the hard part. When you try to help your
And to her, it was just like, well, you know, so close to the time, now maybe it broke her heart, I have no idea. Like, so I was conditioned enough that, oh, no big deal. I took my first job when I was 17. Everyone told me I should have. Really? I was in college. Florida.
I'm sorry, I don't get the rest of the my dad.
No, I
My dad. When she was so sure of it, she had to be emotional. She was so miserable. That's the 40, yeah, that's the 40, no, that's terrible. Oh, you're waving at.
Yeah, we're trying to get the lights to come back on.
Oh, okay.
Our mother had an abortion, got a saline solution, and she was, 2 weeks prior to her due date. That's how they did it. She survived, but she was all burned. And, she goes around, she met her mother, really. She goes around and speaks because they're trying to push all these laws.
I mean,
That's absurd.
just broke your back.
Fine, yeah, so, and hospitals are trying to force doctors to do. I know, that's against my belief, I'm not, God gets to give life and take life, that's it. No, but.
Man, an officer that allowed it to get put there, it just screwed. For years, and nobody. This special interest was a role. There was no role on ADAC. It was just the military, or naval line. It was out there. Some company must have been good friends with the CEO or the president. They brought it up.
Not robot.
Right? Operate.
Mama, we tried to.
But he was gonna be rich.
Yeah, it's, there's, you know, there's annual.
And there's a wildlife reserve.
Taking a drawing? Yeah. But it's got, yeah. It's gotta be,
Turn it back to the
and that's still. Exactly. Pharma, that's all part of this one, all the time, but it's just not. It's just not right, and and still, they allow, well, how can you force us to allow something under the federal government? No, no, they don't. No.
Anyway.
Yeah, but that ain't fake.
So impressed. Those are some crap lots on the post. If you were not only did that,
Oh, yes, more so than you. I agree, but don't you wanna be prepared, if you need to get special stuff or whatever, don't you wanna go and pull that, yeah, so I'm gonna be prepared first. I wanna get my steps, I'm prepared, because, you know, that in the medical journal, that more prepared to after. That's why I agreed to my, I had one
Whatever kind of stuff, she's like, that's how you might want to work. No, I will never want to work.
She has bipolar, and she thought she sounded great. Great doctor, because every time she complains about something, the doctor says you're not a seller. So finally, one day, on the phone for 6 hours, and she was Florida has called. They closed the screen, Great Lakes, Orlando. She was pretty much looking at that summertime. She got sick to Orlando. 6 months before that. Closed it down. That's when my closed San Diego down to one. Before she walked in on that. Well, Dispensary shut down. So she not only had to relearn to walk, but she had to read too. That's why I was sleeping. So anyway, I was going to break up with her. And I go to work. I go to work early in the morning and home. I can't go in there and try to calm her. That was supposed to be get close to Nancy for 3 years. Oh, that's better. And they'll wear shirts. But you go play network somewhere. Very strong meditation. She's gonna be on together. If they're on together, it's because you're moving to this one, you can down. She was on high doses on both of them. 3 years. So that was the understanding of that. I tried to avoid it. I ended up taking it, but she ended up taking it. And that's when she turned around and back. Hello. But then, after that, one of these papers, we were really going to our house in the rain for it. Just because I couldn't get her to move. And she just went, oh, now she turned. But now she lives with her boyfriend who came out of the blue, said he always loved her from high school, and Jesse never gave her one, and she put on Facebook, she lives right in the again. He was over there the next day, and he's not left, so thank God. Because Jesse's yeah, she's challenged. No, that's my daughter Heather who lives in Albuquerque. I'm like, no, that's my son Christopher. And then my daughter Heather lives in Albuquerque. That's my first two. And then Jesse was the one that I tried. And then I had the 2 years. And then for 2 years I was just on the beat, but I was worried about it. I was just, I was so happy. But I found out that Jesse wasn't ready. And I didn't go like, definitely rough. I met her she did not even have the last it's gone through that now, didn't have his filters anymore. Yeah. Reclined in my chair, trying to find a new account.
Well, it used to be 5 to 6,000, but that's when the carriers. But now new carriers, I mean, they're so automated and stuff like that. Ships are bigger, number of people who make them from is less. Because it's all automated, so you don't need all of that.
I don't know if we ever really get that birthday.
She said. How long ago? They got rid of the ship. This was, what's the talking?
My sister-in-law is. Well, I think I'm gonna head home, see about my mom. I left her directions for dinner. She'll in a town called Fort Charlotte.
That is on the Atlantic coast,
On the west coast, south coast. It is a little north of Fort Myers, 100 miles south from Tampa. I used to try to go the way that way so far. Wow. Yeah, that told me I just put up 3 months, and then I quit. No, I actually looked for housing around Tampa, and we could not afford it. But in Fort Charlotte, we bought a house for 50% down. Well, we could not afford on our salary thing to get in Florida as compared to what we got in New York. But because we sold the house there, because it's like, all that money that we got out of that house and make sure it got into this house, so I knew I had a roof over my head. And I couldn't afford anything that was anywhere near Tampa without having to go over the Howard Franklin Bridge. And the Howard Franklin Bridge, you get on that span road, anytime after 6:30 in the morning, it's gonna take you 45 minutes to cross 8 miles. And I don't have the patience for that.
that's the one, that's the,
Yes.
I go down to the bottom school, and I go, and I got a car, bridge, at 5 o'clock. And go on campus.
Yeah, it's absurd. Tampa was not built with the proper layout for a growing thing because it was little Florida. Okay, so it wasn't planned. Albuquerque is a well-planned community. You've got all the roads going north and south, east and west, and you can get everywhere. But not up in the Tampa area. And I used to drive from Fort Charlotte, my door, to my office, 105 miles. But then I stay up there. I go up Monday, I go Monday night, I go home Tuesday after work. And then I go back up Wednesday, and then I stay up Thursday, and then Friday I go up.
I just saw these springs, and I really like. We're gonna be working on our house.
Oh, yeah, it's in Key West.
Yeah, for 1 year, 3 years.
Yeah.
And I told them, I sneak out the hotel,
everything. Yeah, it's either eat, drink, or go fishing. It is. We went for about 4 or 5 days, and we stayed on the base. Chris is, 24 months. So we stayed on the base in one of those little trailers at 7:30 in the morning. All the Army trucks, whatever's there, Army, Navy, whatever's there, they're all going up and down this road. So, you know, like 6:30 in the morning, you're on vacation. No, it's time to get up. Let's go take a morning walk.
I love it.
Key West is beautiful.
We were down there when the picture was down. And we had been looking. I worked at the bank. Yeah. Chris and there, they have all the they have them years in anticipation. Getting scouted. And I remember when we found Mr. Fisher would come in and he had a Porsche. Brand gold. Oh, very nice. Mrs. Fisher came in her front bucket. We'd have to go out to the drive-thru and jump her or push her out. She was buying a car. What's your phone today? She's like, oh, honey, are you ready? I'm always ready to lay off. Usually or we'll change. Okay, hold on, figure it out. She makes a big difference. I'm like, okay. That's it. And my entire telephone
color comes. Wow, she does, that's not a color. And I'm like,
I could have sold it back. Started off as a post office.
I had more fun with people. Oh, whatever. I'm not supposed to be in here, you know that thing called, oh, I don't think say.
20 years.
Here, just a little lovely argument, I'm like, hey, guys. Don't worry. That's part of. I can go out and jump far, or be rather far. No.
Yeah, because that ended.
No, they had.
Friends that were older people that are that got injured. So everybody.
Sounds like they got a lot of volunteers and get stuff done. But Linda told me, oh, you guys need a lot of help, and you might have something I can do, and I'm like, well, I'd love to help the council. You know, I'm happy to come and help, but other people wanna do it, I'm happy to let them do that. And then each part, what all right. They're in the time. They have volunteers, because I couldn't, all I could find was jobs they're hiring for, and none of them I could possibly do. But they're very good, fishy jobs.
You had to do 2 years after 4 years.
And I can't volunteer for anything.
The end of that 2 years, the money goes out.
long day.
I know.
Need a motion to come back into open session.
Make a motion that we go coming back into open session.
I'll second.
Okay, we'll do this on a roll call vote. Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Anaya,
Aye.
Commissioner Donner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan,
Aye.
and I vote aye. We also need to affirm, so I affirm that I had no conflicts of interest and only the items on the agenda were discussed in closed session and no decisions were made.
I so affirm also.
Commissioner Anaya,
I so affirm.
Brennan,
I so affirm.
Donner.
I so affirm.
Okay, thank you guys. And next is adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.